Today on the Millennial Weight Loss Podcast, we continue our series on how you can go about losing the weight when you have 50 or more pounds to lose, where to start. Yesterday, we talked about acknowledging the fact that you do need to lose weight. And in fact, if you're watching this, I'm sure you've already come to that conclusion. You've also accepted the fact that you're overweight and something needs to be done. Now, we get down to the nitty-gritty. What to do in order to lose weight. So we're going to go over the first thing you should do starting today. I'm Pete Weintraub. I'm a permanent weight loss specialist, and you're watching or listening to the Millennial Weight Loss Podcast. All right, guys, so I'm coming to you live if you're watching this from my parents' home in Port Washington, New York. So not the usual backdrop. I'm actually sitting in their kitchen. Obviously, you can see some china and fun stuff behind me. But today we're going to go over, again, what you can start doing today in order to begin to have the weight come off in the right way. I teach all of my clients and anyone who's ever read or watched any of my videos in the past is something called the permanent weight loss pyramid, which if you're watching, you can see now. If not, don't worry, I'm going to explain. So you see, it's basically a pyramid, and at the base is the most important component, and each level all the way up is something that is more important than the thing on top of it, but less important than the thing below it. So we start off with mindset. And yesterday we talked a little bit about that, but just to reiterate, you've acknowledged the fact that you're overweight and something needs to be done about it. You've accepted the fact this is where you're at and that you're going to do something about it. We're there, all right? So now we're getting down to the physical elements of weight loss. And you're seeing here, and this is permanent weight loss too, so these are things you need to continually do, not just short term to lose the weight, but going forward for the rest of your life. So you're seeing nutrition is on top of mindset, followed by sleep, followed by fitness. Yes, that's correct. The way that most people tackle weight loss, whether permanent or short-term fix, is backwards. Instead, we want to tackle nutrition first. Fitness comes in last. Fitness is important. Fitness is crucial to living a healthy, happy, functional life. And we're going to tackle that a little bit later in the week. But today, it's starting with something small that you can implement today. And that thing, my friends, is nutrition. So we've gone over nutrition in some of the past videos. We've done the how to eat at a chain restaurant series. We've looked at Five Guys, Panera, and Chipotle. The cards for those can be seen up here. First off, I implore you to memorize one sentence and to apply it to every nutritional situation you encounter. This goes from when you're cooking at home. This goes from when you're out at a restaurant. This goes from when you're at a party, or an event, whether it's a wedding or bar bat mitzvah, a communion, whatever, a barbecue even. Obviously, we have July 4th coming up here in the States, Independence Day. Lots of grilling, lots of barbecues as the weather continues to get warmer and nicer. So this is something to consider. So that sentence, which was coined by CrossFit founder Greg Glassman, is to eat meats, vegetables, nuts and seeds, some fruit, little starch, no sugar. It's laid out a little differently in the text below, and I'll explain that. So meats, obviously, anything grilled or baked tends to be good. Roasted depends on what you're roasting it with. So grilled or baked meat, pretty much any meat is fine. I prefer you go organic if you can. Obviously with fish, there's no such thing as organic fish. You would go with wild caught instead of farm raised, all right? That's number one. Number two, vegetables. So especially the non-starchy vegetables. So lay off the potatoes, the sweet potatoes, the yams, the corn, and some beans. And the greener, the general rule of thumb is the greener, the better. So stick with that. Nuts and seeds, preferably raw nuts and seeds. If they're roasted, they tend to be roasted in vegetable oil. And while a lot of food companies do have machines and people watching to measure the temperatures, because obviously vegetable oil, which we've gone over in past episodes, when elevated, can hydrogenate, and chemical composition changes, can become trans fat, which is a man-made carcinogen. It causes heart disease. It's led to obesity. It's not good for us, but you want to lay off of it, all right? And then with salt, bloat. You want to lay off the bloat. Salt does not cause heart disease and all that crap unless you already have hypertension or high blood pressure. If you don't have those issues, then you're perfectly fine. Next, fruit. All right, so what I mean by that is low glycemic fruit. So there's two measures of the glycemic measure of a fruit. There's the glycemic index and the glycemic load. Glycemic index is a scale from 0 to 100. 0 meaning there's no sugar in it whatsoever. 100 meaning all it is sugar. Lots of fruits fall along the spectrum. 0 to 49 on the glycemic index is okay. 50 and above, not so much. Now there are some exceptions. For example, watermelon ranks extremely high. I believe it's like an 85 on the glycemic index. So then we look at glycemic load. And the difference being, glycemic index just measures the amount of sugar in the fruit or the vegetable or the foodstuff in general. The glycemic load measures how quickly or not that sugar hits your bloodstream. So with watermelon, its glycemic index is 85, which means that the watermelon itself has a fuckload of sugar in it, but its glycemic load is very low. It's below 10. So 0 to 10 on the glycemic load is fine, because even if it does contain a lot of sugar, maybe you don't eat the entire fruit like a watermelon. You're not going to eat a watermelon in one sitting, right? You're going to eat a slice or two in one sitting, which is fine. But because of the complex of the skin, vitamins, and minerals, it tends to ease the way that the sugar hits your system, and therefore it does not stimulate the insulin resistance cycle, which we've gone over, which is the reason so many people retain and store fat, and also the need to constantly eat. They're grazers, a lot of them call themselves, where they eat every few hours. Even if it's small meals or snacks throughout the day, they tend to be carbohydrate rich. That's because they're fueling their bodies with glucose, with carbohydrate, and as a result, their body processes what's needed, stores the rest, and then in a few hours, you feel tired, sluggish, you got brain fog, you're out of it, and you're hungry again. That's just your body's response trying to get its energy back, all right? So that's the deal with fruit. Little starch, half a cup or less of non-grain-based starch. That means no bread, no pasta, no rice. We've been taught the food pyramid. It is complete and utter bullcrap that has been disproven quite a bit over the last 10 years from a nutritional standpoint, whether you've looked at paleo, keto, anything like that. Atkins even was way ahead of his time. That food pyramid is garbage. It was created by government bureaucrats who are being lobbied by the sugar and corn and grain industries. You don't want to ingest that. Instead, if you're going to have starch, potatoes, yam, corn, beans, the stuff that I mentioned before, that's where you have the half a cup if you're going to have it at any meal. Half a cup or less does not stimulate the insulin resistance cycle. Unfortunately, more than half a cup will. All right, so there's that. No starch and no sugar, meaning no added sugar. You want the sugar in your diet to come primarily from fruits and vegetables. This doesn't mean you can't have a dessert once in a while or treat yourself or indulge once in a while, but the closer you stick to that sentence in your nutritional situations, the better. So what I implore you to do today is to use that sentence and apply it. Clean it up. If you're able to do that, you're going to be in a much better position to succeed. And like I said, when you start this process, you're in it for the right reasons. You're in it for the long haul. You're sick and tired of your friends, your family, your coworkers, society in general for judging you for being overweight, and you're ready to make that change. That's the change you make. Take this sentence, apply it. Go back if you're watching or if you're listening. Listen to the sentence. Maybe have a pen and paper, have your phone out, and listen to it. Type it down. If you miss it, that's okay. You have the ability to pause. Pause. Rewind 5 to 10 seconds, re-listen until you have it written out either on paper or on your device and refer to it. Memorize it. Just like in school when you were learning a foreign language or you're learning certain scientific or historical facts, burn that into your brain and start applying it today. If you're able to do that, you're going to take control of your nutrition, which will then enable you to go to the next step, which is sleep, which is what we're going to cover tomorrow here on the Millennial Weight Loss Podcast. Guys, I hope you found that informative. So I wanted to offer you something last week. Unfortunately, it took me a little longer than I thought to put together. But obviously, as millennials, a lot of us are bootstrapping. Maybe you've just gotten to your first home or apartment and you're not making the money you want to yet. You're still working your way up the corporate ladder or in your industry, whatever the case may be. Maybe you're an entrepreneur like myself and you're bootstrapping and you're trying to save money. Here's what I want to do. But I want you to try me out on a 30-day trial, all right? And basically what you're going to get is $300 of value up front. You're going to get my food guide, my healthy recipe book. That's what I've been asking you guys to check out every episode thus far. All right, so $50 of value, that's it right there. Then I'm going to give you a dietary analysis. Usually I charge $100. That's $150 of value right there. Basically, the dietary analysis, 2 to 3 pages of just looking at a week's worth of your food. You're going to log your food into MyFitnessPal. I'm going to review it. I'm going to let you know what's good, what's bad, what you can do to improve, and give you substitutes for the things that aren't great right now so that you don't feel like you're missing out and that you're depriving yourself. Then we're going to hop on a call and we're going to review the dietary analysis. We're going to make sure that you and I are on the same page, and then I'm just going to coach you on a daily basis from that point on for the rest of the month. Every single day, I will look at what you ate the day before on MyFitnessPal. I'll tell you yay or nay, and I'll coach you from there. I'll keep you motivated, I'll hold you accountable, and I'll continue to coach you. Even in that 1 week, you're probably not going to throw everything at me all at once. There are probably things that are going to slip through the cracks over the course of the month, but as I coach you, I'll continue to give you that personalized feedback and attention that you need in order to succeed. That first month is $1 a day. It's $30 for 1 month of coaching, and you're getting quite a bit of stuff, about $500 worth of coaching and materials to you for $30. Pretty damn good deal. So if you're interested in checking that out, just go to weightlossbypete.com/coach. That link is in the description below, whether you're watching or listening to the podcast. Thanks so much for watching or listening. Tomorrow, we're going over sleep. Believe it or not, sleep has a lot to do with your hormone levels and your body's ability to metabolize food efficiently and to burn fat efficiently, so you don't want to miss that. I'm Pete Weintraub, permanent weight loss specialist, signing off. Have a great rest of the day, everyone. I'll come back at you tomorrow. Have a good one.